My brothers and sisters, this is part 2 of the promises, and I will continue in verse 46. They shall be up. Let me go back a little bit so you could catch up from where I stopped. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon you and shall pursue you and overtake you till you be destroyed, because you have not hearkened unto the voice of EZER your Redeemer, to keep his commandments and his statutes that he has commanded you. You refuse to do what he tells you to do, so these curses are upon you, and they are destroying you. As long as you refuse to keep his commandments, you refuse to call his name, you refuse to keep his Sabbath, you refuse to praise him, you refuse to glorify him, but you want to go around and do all that he tells you you shouldn't do. You don't call his name, you cast it to ruin, you have gone after strange mighty ones, you went into a book that they add when he told you you shouldn't add to his word, not take out from his word. You've gone to something they add and they make up. You're gone to a strange mighty one he didn't give you. He told you he is your Redeemer. You have forgotten him. You forgot his word. He gave you his name. He says, this is my name unto you. Do not use it for vain purposes, nor cast it to ruin. He said, make no image, have no idol, worship none besides him. You have gone after idols. You have done this. You have done this. EZER-IAH, EZER-IAH, you are guilty. IAH, EZER-IAH, you are guilty. You have done these transgressions against our Redeemer. Ask for forgiveness and return unto him. Return unto him with words. Humble yourself. Humble yourself. And call the name that I'm giving you. His name is EZER-IAH. Humble yourself and call his name and ask him for forgiveness. And say to him, you want him to be your Redeemer. You want him to guide you. You want to know his law. You need his help. You need the help from his holy archangel. Ask him to send Gabriel, Uriah, and Michael. Ask him to send them to help you, to direct your path, to clean out your intellect. Ask him to help you. Ask him. They shall be upon you for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seeds forever. Here I is telling you, this thing is not just on you. It's going to be on you forever. But it also will be on your children forever. Unless you change, unless you turn back to him, it will be on you and on your children. And then you'll go on your children's children. But if you turn and break that cycle, if you turn to EZER, your Redeemer, that cycle could be broken. He said, because you have served not EZER your Redeemer. You don't serve EZER your Redeemer. You serve Lord, Baal, Baal, B-A-A-L. That's who you serve when you say Lord. And my people love that word because they're so lack of knowledge. My dear brothers and sisters, take that word and go in your dictionary or encyclopedia and search, see what the meaning of the word is. They know we don't like to read, and furthermore, they prevented us from learning to read, so they thought we will never know what they did. Search the word Lord and see what it means. They have removed your name for you, the name EZER, and put Lord. Take this word out and put his name back. Take the God out and put Redeemer back. Do it, my brothers and sisters. Do it and see the salvation of Aya, your Redeemer. See how he works for you. See how close he was there just waiting for you to do this. See what he will do for you. See it. See what he will do for you. This is your book. He's telling you what to do from your book. He's begging you to do it. It says here, because you will not serve Aya, your Redeemer, with joyfulness and with gladness of heart. You don't have no time for Aya. You can't serve him with joy. Like you're going to pray to the Most High. You should be happy. You're greeting a brother, you should be happy. You're greeting a sister, you should be happy. You see a young girl, a young sister, you should be happy to say something nice, a good word. But instead, you want to open your mouth and talk about sex. You want to talk about relationship. No, you see a young brother, the brother's talking about sex with another young brother. You see a sister, you want to have relationship with her, and she tell you she married, but you want to have relationship with her. You want to do like the heathens do. Our brothers that are the pastors and the preachers, they have taken up the way of the heathen already. They are cursed, my brothers and sisters. Those things you see going on in their churches, this is just their temples, their shrines. They are washed shrines for Lucifer. They are already cursed. Get out of those shrines and serve Aya on your bed. Serve him in your living room. Serve him in the yard. Serve him in your car. Just call his name and talk to him. My brothers and sisters, get out from among them and be not partakers of their sins. Get out from among them, my brothers and sisters. Get out from among them. He's exposing them. Aya is exposing them to you daily. He exposed the priests in the Catholic Church, showing you they're homosexuals and pedophiles. Now he's in the Christian churches, which is the daughter of the Babylon. All of them is one. And he's exposing the pastors. He's exposing them daily to you. Can't you see this? Can't you comprehend that Isaiah's doing this for you in these latter days? He's trying to show you so that you could get yourself out of this. Can't you comprehend this? What happened to the brain? Call the name of Isaiah and ask him to open your intellect. Do it, my brother and my sisters. Do it. He says, because you refuse to serve Aya your Redeemer with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things. Do you know how much Aya give us? Aya cause us to wake up every day, cause our eyes to see, our ears to hear, our mouth to speak, our hands to do things. Do you know how much people don't have that ability on a daily basis? Do you know that the Most High give us clean air to breathe? With all the filth in the world, the air is still clean that we could breathe it. Look what's happening with the coronavirus in some places. They have to walk with masks because they're afraid to breathe the air. And I has cleaned your air for you where you are. You can breathe it. And even though you were in an area where there is that virus, you still have to give thanks to Aya for the air because you can't do without it. You could be in a land of drought. You still have to give thanks to Aya for the water because you can't do without it. Well, whatever means you get it, you can't do without it. Give thanks to Aya for life, for health, for strength, for air, for food, for water. Give thanks to him for your sight, your hearing, your speech. Give thanks to him for you being here. He has given you this opportunity to be here in this time where you could talk to him and ask him for forgiveness for the idols you worship, for the agreements you have made with evil spirits, for the contract you signed with Lucifer. Rebuke them now and ask Aya for forgiveness, my brother. Ask Aya for forgiveness, my sister. Do it. I'm begging. Do it. Aya has allowed you to live unto this time that you hear his word. Do it, my brother, my sister. Do it. In 48 he says, Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which I shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in the want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck, until he have destroyed thee. Now, my brothers and sisters, Ayah continues. He continues to relate to you. He's telling you, who nation had yoke upon the neck? Which nation was sold to the enemies? Which nation that served a people in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and up to today are still in the need of all things? Which nation? Which one? But you. Which one but you? Which one but us as a people? My dear brothers and sisters, get this. He shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he destroy us. So we are destroyed. Right now, we are destroyed. That's why they take the yoke off the neck. You know, you put a leash on a new dog. You just got the dog, you tie it in the yard because you don't want it to run away. When the dog get familiar with the yard, he starts shaking his tail to you. He starts eating from your hand. You take the leash off. Why? You have tamed him, right? You destroy in him the urge to go back where he came from. You have already destroyed the urge in him to run away. My dear brothers and sisters, that's what they did to us because of our disobedience to Aya, our Redeemer. Because of our disobedience to Aya, our Redeemer, these things has happened unto us. Because of our disobedience to Aya, these things have happened to us. Aya says, He shall besiege thee in all thy gates. That's when they was invading, the heathens was invading us in the land. They shall besiege us in all thy gates until thy high fence walls come down, wherein thou trustest. We trusted, they trusted, our ancestors trusted in the high walls, saying that the walls was going to protect them. And I was telling them, no, when the walls come down, the walls you trust in, you're going to break it down throughout all thy land, and you shall besiege thee in all thy gates, throughout all thy land, which I, your Redeemer, has given thee, in the land that I gave you. But now you're trusting in the wall instead of trusting in me. You're not trusting I no more. You're trusting in the big walls you build. You're trusting in yourself. So I is saying, break down those walls. Yes, in this land that I've given you. And you shall eat the fruit of thine own body. I tell them, you go eat your own children. And they did. The flesh of thy sons and of thy daughters that Aya has given unto you in the siege. When there was siege, when the Romans sieged the Jerusalem, they ate their children. And in the streets wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee. The stress was so much on them. They were so hungry. They start eating their children. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil towards his brother, and towards the wife of his bosom, and towards the remnant of his children that are left. So he go reach to the point where Those who run away, run away. Those who die, die. But when the hunger, when the time get on them so bad, the children that stayed with them, they're going to start eating them. So that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children whom he shall eat. He won't even give a wife piece of the flesh of the child he will eat. He won't give the neighbor piece because he has nothing left him in the siege and in the straitness wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee in all thy gates. My dear brothers and sisters, this happened in 70 AD to our people in Jerusalem. The tender and delicate woman among you, which will not adventure to set her sole of her foot upon the ground, for delicateness and tenderness, her eye shall be evil towards her husband of her bosom, and towards her son, and towards her daughter, and towards her young one that come out of between her feet, her child, her own baby. She was so tender. She was so full of herself. She was so pompous before that she wouldn't even put her foot on the ground, barefoot on the ground. But now she will watch her children with the desire to eat them. She will watch her husband thinking about to kill him, to eat him. For she shall eat them for want of all things, secretly in the siege and straitness, wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee in thy gate. So she will eat her husband, she will eat her baby, she will eat her big children, she will kill them and eat them. My dear brothers and sisters, our ancestors did this in the land of Jerusalem when the Romans besieged the city in 70 AD. It has happened. Let us go to 58. If you will not observe, here, the Most High is telling them that the women will do this. The father will do this. They will eat their children. Why? He's telling them in 58. If you will not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that you may fear this glorious and fearful name, I, your Redeemer. If you will not call, if you will not treat this name that I give you, if you will not treat it the way I tell you you have to treat it, don't put it to ruin, don't use it in vain. Use it to call me for whatever you need. Use it to glorify me. Use it to praise EZER-IAH. That's what you have to use the name for. If you wouldn't do this, he says, then EZER-IAH will make your plagues wonderful, and the plagues of your seed, even great plagues, and of long continuance, which means it's going to continue for a long, long, long. If you hear what he says in 58, he says, if you will not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that you will not fear this glorious and fearful name. Right? But then look what they give you here. They give you THELORD, They have not given you a name here, my brothers and sisters. Look at it. They are saying to you, if you will not fear that glorious name of EZER, your Redeemer, because LORD is not a name. LORD is BALL. It's not the name of your Redeemer. You know that by now. You should know that by now. So, if that was his name, they will never say the name the. The name thee. Huh? They will say the name Elodi. That's what they would put there. The name Elodi. But that's not what they put there. The name. The Elodi. So what is the name? They don't give you a name. God is not a name. It's a title. It's a title to Ball. That's why you say the Lord God, Bala God. Ancient, Bala God. Modern, Lord God. That's what they give you there. They haven't given you the name of the Most High. See what they have done to you? The abomination they have given you. My dear brothers and sisters, listen to the word. Listen to this word and read it. So here he's saying, if you will not observe to do all the words, which all the commandments, all the words that is in the commandments that are written in this book, if you refuse to do them, because you have to do the commandments to show your love to ayah, to show respect to ayah, to show appreciation to ayah. You must. If you don't keep the commandments, you can't show appreciation to ayah. You're not showing gratitude to ayah. You're not showing giving. You won't give thanks to ayah for the air you breathe, the food you eat, the water you drink, your sight, your hearing, your being, for the universe, the world, for the sea, the fish, the land, the fruits, the animals. You won't give thanks to ayah if you don't keep his law. You can't do this. So here he's telling you the two most important things to you in your life, is the law and his name. Here he specifically show you the two most important things for you as a Hebrew Israelite is his name and his law. You have to call that name. You have to show respect to that name. Because that's what he gave you to get in contact with him. That's what he gave you to take you out of the land of Egypt. That's what he gave you. He said that's his name forever, to all generations. He tell you that to go from generation to generation. That is name and the law. From generation to generation to generations. All. That's the only thing he tell you. Had to go from time to time. His name and his law. And here he's telling you, if you wouldn't keep that law, to make sure you show reverence to that name, you have to keep that law and call that name. You have to keep that law to know you don't have to go to any other name. When you go in that law, you will know that you have to call his name and no other name. You don't have to go to no one else. When you study the law, you will know that he is your Redeemer. He is your Savior. He is the Holy One of Israel. He is your King. He is your Maker, your rock, your refuge, your shield, and your buckler. You will know that. So you won't go to any other one. You won't go to no strange one. You won't go to no heathen for one. You won't call the name of none that the heathens give you. You won't go to no idol. You won't go to no evil force. You won't go to no spirit. You won't go to no fallen angel. You won't go to no Lucifer for nothing. He say here, he tell you again, if you will not observe. So these things I just read to you above, they will happen to you if you don't observe. You tell them they go eat their children. They didn't observe and they ate their children. And that's how we happen to be here. They had to leave the land. They run. We are from those who run away, those who got away. That's why we are here today. And this is binding on us. It is binding on us. Unless we turn back and do what he say here, we have to know what we have to do. We have to observe the word of the law We have to observe the word of the law, and we have to glorify his name. Look at it right here in your book. That's what we have to do. We have to observe the law, and we have to glorify his name. Because if we don't do that, hear what he says. 59. Then I will make thy plagues wonderful, and the plagues of thy seed even greater plagues, and of long continuance. So, my dear brothers and sisters, when we see these things happening to us here today, we have to know why. Here he's telling us, if we still refuse to keep that law, we see what happened to our ancestors. We see what he said to them, and we know what they did. And if we refuse to do it, he says, then I will make thy plagues wonderful, and plagues of and plagues of thy seed. So, okay, he go bring it unto their children. He's telling us here, if all you still don't want to hear what I have to say after I show you what I made your ancestors do, I'm going to make it happen to you too and your children, and for a long, long time. Are you going to continue in this? Do you want your children continue in this situation that we are in today? Like beggars, hustlers, servants to heathens? And Aya said we are his servants? Why did Aya say we are his servants? It's Aya we have to serve. When we serve Aya, Aya will take care of our needs and our desires. When we serve Aya, Aya will take care of our needs and our desires. That's why we are his servants. We are not supposed to be servants to the heathens. The heathens are our oppressors. And Aya is going to set us free from them when we start to observe the law and show respect unto his name. When we stop calling the names of idols and of foreign deities, deities of the nations, when we turn back to our mighty one, the one who claimed us, the one who brought us out of the land of Egypt, who redeemed us, the one who took us to be his own. When we turn back to him, then things will change for us. He says, he continues, and sore sicknesses and of long continuance. So all these sicknesses that we are experiencing as a people are plagues and curses. Why? Because we refuse to serve Aya, we refuse to call his name. He says in 60, moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt, which you was afraid of, and they shall cleave unto you. So all the diseases that our ancestors saw in Egypt, and they was afraid of them, Aya is now saying that he is going to bring it unto us, and it's going to stay. They are going to stay with us. The cancer, the high blood pressure, the attack, the heart attack, the AIDS. He says, also, every sickness and every plague that is not written in the book of this law. So there are new sicknesses to come unto us. They're not written in this book of the law. Are you afraid of coronavirus? That's just the beginning, my brothers and sisters, for this world. That's just the beginning for this world. The world is heating up. You will see diseases that will make you never thought you wouldn't even want to be alive. That's just the beginning. The Egyptian went through it. we refuse to turn to our Redeemer, we will have to go through it. That's what he's saying to us. Turn, call on his name. He just told you. He just told you in 58 what you have to do. You have to observe his law. You have to do them, and you have to reverence his name. You have to glorify his name. His glorious name means you have to glorify his name. His name. You have to glorify his name. You have to sing praise to him. Them I will bring upon you until you be destroyed. And you shall be left few in number, whereas you were as the stars of heaven for multitude. Although we was like the stars in heaven, which means we was millions. How many of us die in slave trade? How many millions die in the passage? How many millions die to the Romans when they invade the land? How many millions die on the plantations? How many millions die in the Jim Crow? How many millions was hung? How many millions was burned? How many millions are dying today? How many millions are being killed today? How many millions? Millions. How many abortions are taking place among our people? Millions. How many are killing one another? Millions. My dear brothers, the curse is still here with us. We have to observe our law and respect his name. Use his name with respect, not no other name. Our name. He just give it to you in 58. Make sure, mark this verse. Verse 58 of Deuteronomy 28. He says here, why this will happen to you? Why will you be left few in numbers? You was like the stars in heaven, but you shall be left few in numbers. Why? He tells you, because you will not obey the voice of your Redeemer. Because you still refusing to obey the voice of your Redeemer, you refusing to call his name, you still going after idols, you still going after what the nation, the heathens give you, you still going after what is not given to you, you will experience these things. You will experience it. Nobody can take it from you. I told you earlier, nobody can save you. Nobody. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, all of them who came and gone and try. Nobody can save you. Nobody. There is none to save you. Who is going to save you? Uh, your last hope used to be Jesse Jackson, and he faded. He faded, gone now. Your hope was one time was Obama. Huh? Obama is not even Israelite. There's none that will save you. Obama spent 8 years and gone. What he did for you? Huh? You're still in the same position. My people, turn to Aya. Turn, please, turn to your Redeemer. Turn to your Redeemer. He is causing you to hear this today. Turn to him. He says, it shall come to pass that as Aya rejoiced over you to do you good, and to multiply you. So I will rejoice over you to destroy you, and to bring you to nothing. And you shall be plucked from off the land where thou goest to possess. And that's what he did to them. They came to nothing on the land. Few of them remained. That's our ancestors who escaped. There was a few who escaped. They ran into West Africa. That's how we happen to be here today. They escaped because he allowed some of them to escape. And maybe, I don't know the ones he allowed to escape. I don't know if they was the ones from the children of the prophet, but I personally believe for myself, it was most of them was from the house of David. Because he said, David's seed shall last forever. David's seed shall be forever. So I think it was because of the righteousness of the house of David, because they built the house for Aya's name, because of they was right. And when they sinned, they asked for forgiveness. I have forgiven him. I have promised he have a throne that will be there for him forever. I have promised he gonna raise him up unto us in the latter days. I have promised that he gonna make him the one shepherd that he will put over us. And I think that's the reason why we are here today. So let us go on. He says here, 64, and I shall scatter you among all people. Here, Aya is telling us over and over, we are not all the same on the earth. We are not same with the other people on the earth. You see, the heathens try to make you believe we're all the same. The Christians from the Trinity of the Trinity of Lucifer try to make you believe we are all the same. Judaism try to make you believe we're all the same. Islam try to make you believe we're all the same. That's not what Ayah is saying to you, my brother and sister. Because hear what he's saying to you. And Ayah shall scatter you among the people. Who's the people then? That's the other nations. You are not the same with them. I have chosen you unto himself. From one end of the earth even unto the other. And there you shall serve GODs. You see? And there you shall serve GODs. So when we came here, our people started to serve GODs from over there. And I removed them from the land. And they went into Egypt and served GOD in Africa and served GODs. And when they took them here as slaves, they started serving more GODs. That's what they did. They have already forget Iowa. That's why we are not to follow no tradition of our fathers. The tradition we're supposed to follow is the traditions of the prophets. And how will we get to the tradition of the prophets? We get to the traditions of the prophets from reading the book, the words of the prophets. That's what we get. Why? Because these are those I have sent to warn our ancestors when they was going astray. These are those he sent with his message to them to tell them what to do and what not to do. And they refused to listen to the prophets. And they met their destruction. Are you ready to meet your destruction? Or you will start to listen? You see, it is our obligation to start listening. And when we start listening, we will be different. Aya will visit us. He says, they will serve GODs that their fathers have not known. Our ancestors did not know these GODs that we serve in here. They didn't know nothing about no JC. They didn't know nothing about JC. Even wood and stone. So that's what we are serving here, wood and stone, as I described earlier. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, but I shall give thee a trembling heart and failing of eyes, sorrow of mind. So among these nations, Europe, the Western world, where we are scattered, we will find no peace there. He's telling you, you will find no peace, no ease. Neither shall the sole of your foot rest, no rest for you. I shall give you a trembling heart. Why? Because you will have no comfort. You won't be comfortable. You won't be happy like you was. And a failing of eyes. The things you're going to see, it's going to bother you. It's going to worry you. It's going to stress you. It's going to kill some of us. And sorrow of mind. So, why? Because we have gone to worship wood and stone. So all of these things will happen to us. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night. That's like when our ancestors just come here. You might say that's the time. Well, my brothers and sisters, we are still fearing day and night. Ask the mothers of those children who are killed every night. Ask the mothers of the children who are killed in the street or in the home or in the yard. Ask them. They fear day and night. And none shall assurance of thy life. We have no assurance of our lives because The curses is here. When you turn from this, you will have assurance of your life. You will feel safe. You won't have no fear. You won't be afraid to go nowhere. You won't be afraid to speak. You won't be afraid to walk. You won't be afraid. When the police with the siren behind you, you wouldn't be afraid. Why? Because you will follow the law. Once you're keeping the law of EZER, you will keep the law of the land. Because the law of EZER proceed is higher than any law that man could pass. The Most High described his laws to us in Leviticus, in Deuteronomy, in Numbers. He gave us his laws. So if you keep the law of EZER, then you would not be afraid of any law of any land, because you will know you have to do the right thing always. That law of EZER in you will tell you, no, you cannot drive because your license is revoked. You cannot get this because you don't have the money. You should not take this because this is breaking EZER's law. You support EZER's law is above all laws. It is perfect. So once you have higher law in you, you wouldn't break any other law. You will just automatically do the right thing throughout your whole life. And your life, you will live in peace and in harmony. He says here, in the morning, you will wish it was in the evening. And in the evening, you wish it's morning. Because you're not happy. You are not happy. You're not comfortable. You're stressed. You're hungry, you're naked, you're just not, you can't sleep. He says here, for the fear of thine heart that you will fear, for the sight of your eyes that you will see, you won't be able to sleep. But why is fear? You see, fear is not of the Most High. Fear is of Lucifer. Fear is of the demons, the evil spirits that lurk around us. EZER does not give us a spirit of fear. EZER gives us a spirit of strength. He gives us dominion. He said he has given us dominion over all the things he has made. EZER has given us dominion. He gave us power over it. But what is that power he gave us over it? Is the name. That same name he sent to us when we was in Egypt. That same name he sent to Pharaoh and said, let my people go. That same name that Pharaoh did not know. See? And then now they put in the dictionaries and in its words, like when you see the word Aya, what they tell you, that's a moon god. Moon god. Pharaoh, an Egyptian moon god. Pharaoh didn't even know that name. Pharaoh said, who is that? What's that name? I don't know that name. But now they're trying to tell you, when you go search the name, they're going to tell you there's some moon god. Because why? Lucifer has realized that his secret is being exposed. Lucifer is now realizing that his secret is being exposed. So he's going to take steps to cause people to be in doubt. But the children of Israel, when they were in the land of Egypt, you see, some of our ancestors still remember the way of the Most High. It was a commandment given to us to celebrate the new moon, to celebrate on the new moon. We wasn't praising the moon. We wasn't praying to the moon. We wasn't singing and dancing to the moon. We was dancing for it, because I ascend it to show us what time it is, when we should plant, when we should reap, when we should sow. That's the moon. That's what it was for. That's why he say, at the new moon, blow the horn. At the new moon, we're supposed to celebrate. We're supposed to eat. It's a festival. We're supposed to eat. Read your book. That's what the new moon is. Moon means month. Moon means month. So new moon just means new month. So every month, when the new month begin, we were supposed to celebrate. It's a day of festivity in the evening. When we see it, That's the full moon, not no part of the moon. And some of our brothers teaching when the moon is dark is new moon. How could when the moon be dark is a new moon? So what are you seeing? Are you seeing anything? Are you seeing anything when it's dark? My brother, you stop teaching our people ignorance, my dear brothers and sisters. The new moon is full moon. When you see the whole moon, that's the beginning of the month. The next day is the first day. That day, that full moon, you see the whole moon, and it stays until in the morning when the sun coming up, you're still seeing the moon. That is the full moon. That is your new month. That's the first day of the month. And that's what we used to celebrate. We used to celebrate the beginning of the month. Not we wasn't praying to the moon. We were celebrating the month. And this is what I said we were supposed to do. There is a law for that. And by we doing this, the Egyptian thought that our people was praying to the moon. That wasn't what they was doing. And that alone should confirm to you that his name is Aya, because that's the name they used to be calling out when they're celebrating the moon, the new moon. This should confirm to you the name of the Most High. The reason why they're telling you that is the Egyptian moon god is because the Hebrew Israelites used to be calling on that name and giving thanks and singing praise for that unto that name at that time when the moon is full. Listen to what I'm saying to you. Listen to what I'm saying to you, my brother or my sister. We go to 68. And I shall bring you into Egypt again with ships, by the way where I spoke to you unto you. You shall see it no more again. So he was telling them, furthermore, if you refuse to keep the commandments of Aya your Redeemer, Aya is going to cause you to go into Egypt again, which means in bondage again, in slavery again, to be controlled again. But this time they're going to take you with ships. You see, when our people left the first time and went to Egypt, they didn't go with ships. They walk. And you don't take ship from where they are to go to Egypt. He was talking about this Western world. This where we came here, where they brought us with ships. Here, Aya is identifying to you who you are, my brothers and sisters. Read this book with an open mind. Why is he saying that they will take you into Egypt again with ships? Who did they bring here into slavery with ships? Who did they bring here with ships? Who? Who did they bring here with ships and sell them and have them as bondsmen and bondswomen? It's us. You see, he is speaking to us, and we can't go there with interpretation in our own imagination like we know what he's saying. We have to listen to what he's saying. So here he said, they shall bring you into Egypt again with ships by the way where I speak unto you, which means where he's speaking to you right now, where you are in the land, you shall see this land no more. He was speaking to our ancestors. They won't see that land no more. Why? They die in the passage, they die on the plantation, they die here. Just like how when he took them out of Egypt and they all died in the wilderness instead of Caleb and Joshua, only two of them that survived to went bringing the people into the land. All the others died in the wilderness. It's the same way. All our ancestors died. They die here. And he was telling them that land where you are now, you will not see it. They would not see it again. And he says, and there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondsman and bondswoman, and no man shall buy you. Who was sold to our enemy? Who was sold to our people? So these people who were sold to, Aya is saying to us, that's your enemies. Aya is identifying our enemies to us right here. He said, you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondsmen and bondswomen. The same people who Your pastor is teaching you to love because they are just like you. Ayah is telling you here they are your enemies. Ayah is identifying who your enemies are to you. And at the same time, he's identifying who you are to yourself, because he's telling you, when you get to the comprehension that you are the people who were sold, you will know who you are. You are Ayah's people. And when you get to know who sold you, you will know that your enemy, that's the hidden. And you will know that what this book that they gave you is the hidden gave you, not what Ayah gave you. Ayah gave you the front of the book from Genesis to Malachi. It is like 3 times bigger to what they make up and give to you. But then now he told us they're gonna make us worship wood and stone, right? So you find your people worshiping a few pages, like just a few pages. That's what they believe in. And the whole book, the massive part of the book, which is for them, which Ayah gave them, he gave us, they're not touching it. They're afraid of what I give. They're afraid of his name. They're afraid of his laws. They're afraid of all his words. They're afraid of the prophets he sent to us. They're afraid of their names. They're afraid of the words they bring. They're afraid of everything. That's what I say. They have turned away from him. And that's why we are living the curse. That's why we are living the curses, my brothers and sisters. And this is Deuteronomy chapter 28, and I will make another video. No, I will make another video with the third part. So this is part 2 of the promises.